Hello everyone and welcome back to theCUBE's live coverage of UiPath Fusion here in Las Vegas. I'm your host, Rebecca Knight, alongside my co-host and analyst, Dave Vellante. I would like to welcome to our show, Daniel Dines. He is the CEO and founder of UiPath. Welcome, Daniel. Welcome back, Daniel.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to see you.
So you were just up on the main stage doing the keynote where you talked about this study that has rattled technology investors. It's out of MIT, 95% of companies are not seeing any ROI from their AI pilots. You talked a lot, you were very candid, very transparent about it, and you said there are really 4 reasons for why so many companies aren't seeing them. I'd love you to tell our viewers how you see this.
Yeah, so our thesis is that you need to have a strong foundation of automation in order to bring intelligence into your processes. And I said, even if we look into the evolution of life on Earth, we started with simpler organisms, but they were capable of very reliable, predictive actions, and then intelligence came on the top of these capabilities. It's kind of the same. Many companies are stuck into building chatbots that have little impact on productivity. While we all know, in order to reap the huge outcomes, you need to deliver as much as autonomously as possible, you know, the entire process automation. And I think another reason is that people are starting very small today. So they go after small use cases, they might have mild successes, but because of the risks involved, they don't have the guts to put them in production. But if you go to really tough problems to solve, even if the impact is smaller, actually the outcome can be much bigger. And then you can convince an organization to adopt it. Because imagine, you go for something that is extremely painful, consumes a lot of energy and time. Even if you say 5% of their time on this, they will be excited. One of our customers from CSL, described very well. They got very critical strategic, process, the plasma donor process, and the impact was really significant and convinced basically the entire organization to move behind it.
So I very much liked the way that you addressed that study, and what really caught my attention was the second reason you said why these initiatives fail. The ambitions are not that high, is what you said. Now, we all know that Agentic's not easy. You can't just do it, and it's not magic. So as an executive, when somebody comes to you with a new idea, they want money, they want you to fund something, it's like, okay, there might be an internal rate of return that you have to hit, there might be a net present value, that you want to achieve, or there might be, well, when am I going to get my return? When is my cash going to break even? In this case, and I agree with you, everybody's, I call, hitting singles, small wins, and it's not moving the needle. So, help us understand your advice. How do I get big, needle-moving, net present value type of returns, and how do I reduce my risk at the same time?
Yeah, I think there are multiple ingredients into the picture. So first of all, of course, pick something that is important for your organization, and in case you are successful, will rally people behind you. Then I think it's important to pick a vendor that puts skin in the game. We are into an early adopters industry, and I don't think there are no blueprints of large-scale implementations. We are building them right now. So having a vendor, and we are the type of vendor that right now we want to put a lot of skin in the game. Together with our customers, we aim to build reusable solutions that can actually propel the entire industry. And then also you have to get the buy-in of the business stakeholders that you address to. And you also have to educate your audience, your workforce. It's a lot of fear, it's a lot of inertia. But once they see that actually it works in their favor, they can do more human-like tasks, they can handle better the exception, they can engage better the customer, they can engage more customers, rather than just fearing for job losses. I think it's a process that really helps with the adoption.
So how do you actually do that? Because on the main stage you were talking about this cultural transformation and how you really need to make it a priority to bring the humans along in this. You said that there is so much fear and anxiety, and we know that, and statistics bear that out. How do you, before they start to see, as you said, that they can get more done, reach more customers, make more sales with these AI, with the help of these AI agents, how do you bring them along as a leader in talking about how their roles will change in this AI era?
I can tell you more how we are doing it internally, because we also talk about us being the customer zero for us. So we created a big incentive plan for the organization to adopt AI. So every part of the organization had to come with ideas. And that was basically part of their compensation structure. We show both, the carrot and the stick in doing this. And also tell them, this is not an exercise about reducing the workforce, but it's more of an exercise of growing without increasing the workforce. And it's an exercise to help us address more customers. And I give you an example, like in customer success. This is one of the first agents that we have started building. Traditionally, customer success can address only a top fraction of your customers. But if you can build an agent that emulates most of the work of a customer success manager, you can go after the long tail of customers. Same with your BDRs. BDRs can do a lot more with the help of agents. So that was the way we pitched to the entire organization. But also I think it helped that from our top executive, from my direct reports going, in the entire organization, we have introduced like performance stock units that were tied to, some success in Agentic, both internally and externally.
Daniel, obviously as customer zero, you have bots everywhere and a lot of automation in place. You're building on top of that. You talked at the end of your discussion today that RPA is essentially, can be a foundation. It's deterministic, but RPA doesn't do well when things change. Presumably that's where Gen AI and Agentic comes in. My question is, do those customers that have that RPA plumbing in place have a big advantage? And for those that don't, how do they get started?
I'll explain to you first why they have an advantage. So they, in a way, Agentic AI and RPA both have in common that they emulate how people work. So you want to go after manual processes with Agentic and reduce the people input on the processes. Same we did with RPA. So having a solid RPA program in place, it means that you already identify a lot of processes. You have identified the steps that can be reliably automated with RPA. So it's much easier for you to go after the steps that you couldn't automate with RPA. So then you are bringing Agentic AI to further reduce the human input. For the people that don't have already an automation in place, I always advocating that they have to put one. And it's great to combine your AI Center of Excellence with the Automation Center of Excellence, because they, in a way, they belong together. An AI agent that doesn't do action is not an AI agent. An AI agent that it's only a chatbot that works locally and give me some information that can help me, get like 10 minutes a day will help only my dog, because I will, walk it 10 minutes more. But it's not gonna meaningfully impact the P&L. So you will need Agentic AI and automation deliver, as much autonomously as possible to see the impact in the P&L.
As a software company, you saw and understand well the impact that SaaS had relative to, say, on premises or traditional software, I should say. And you guys had both. You had on-premise and you had cloud. But when SaaS came in, it changed the technical model, it changed the operational model, it changed the business model. Pricing changed, the whole way in which you sold software changed. Now, with Agentic and AI, Gen AI specifically, it seems like the whole market's changing again, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that. We use the term, we didn't coin it, but we're going from software as a service to services as software, services being productivity drivers that are process oriented. How do you see that changing the technical model, the operational model, maybe the pricing model?
Look, I think that there is a big pressure on pricing on like traditional SaaS software. In a world where, a bunch of kids using something like Cursor or Lovable can build like a business application in days, of course there will be a pressure on the traditional SaaS vendors. But I think it's rather a pricing pressure than a displacement. Mm-hmm. I think many people underestimate right now how difficult it is to build an application that is compliant, secure, with the proper governance, and integrates into a big enterprise stack. So, to me, it's I don't see a day one major shift, but I see a 5-year major shift in the making right now.
Yeah, so I'm interpreting that as Agentic is hard and it's going to take the better part of a decade to play out and really have the business impact that people expect. Like 2025 is not the year of Agentic. It's the year we talk about Agentic, but in terms of your customers, it's going to be 26, 27, 28, 29. It's going to take some time for them to absorb. Is that a fair interpretation?
Yeah, and I think Agentic would not necessarily replace existing SaaS business as much as it's gonna reduce the human input on the processes. So less people will become a lot more productive. Same number of people can address a lot more customers. And Agentic and workflows will integrate much better between different SaaS providers. Maybe there will be a consolidation between different SaaS providers. With maybe new I believe that the workflow automation will become even more important in this era, and maybe because every SaaS application in the end it's a database, data schema, and some workflows. You can achieve a lot with a database, an ontology, and a really good workflow engine, plus Agentic that is on the top of it. So I think there will be this pressure on consolidation.
This is a very competitive industry and there are lots of vendors to choose from. When you are talking to CEOs and CTOs and others in the C-suite, what are you hearing about why they're choosing UiPath as their collaborator?
We are a trustable partner for them. We work with many partners and customers for almost like 10 years. They know that we have a world-class automation platform that is reliable and deliver tangible results. They've seen our early success into Agentic, and they believe into our orchestration story. In all candor, we've been among the first that preached orchestration as being essential to deploy Agentic AI. And we have pivoted the entire company into building this new orchestration engine. And that's it starts to resonate well in the market. And we participate into bake-offs with really large companies like Salesforce, ServiceNow, Microsoft, and we are winning. When we are winning is because of our orchestration story and the integrated story, the Switzerland of different platforms story.
Yeah, you're a dot connector across the horizontal dot connector. I have two questions from that. What's the KPI on those benchmarks? Is it performance? Is it outcomes? What are you measuring there?
I think people are looking, for the outcomes at this. And interestingly, many customers want this skin in the game. So we are eyeing, I think, for some really huge transformational projects, we are really even entertained in doing like outcome-based deals with our customers. Because I believe that's the right moment into like an industry that it's in its early innings.
So what's your vision as to how those dots get connected? I'm particularly interested in the partnerships that you announced. There's two with foundation model vendors, OpenAI and Gemini, connecting their foundation models with your process excellence and workflow. The Snowflake, very interesting, they're the data player, you're not a data player, connecting to Cortex, which is their AI platform, that's integration, that's dot connecting. And then Nemotron was particularly interesting with NVIDIA in, I believe it's healthcare and security and fraud detection. So there's sort of more solution oriented. How do you see, what's your vision as to how that dot connection plays out over time?
So, again, David, from the beginning, we praised ourselves to be an open platform. All of this partnership showed that we aim to bring the best into our platform. One aspect that you didn't mention is our partnership with open source frameworks for building agents.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think this is also instrumental to give our customers options to not feel locked into a particular platform. Our partnership with Snowflake, and we will continue with other data providers. We don't aim to be a data provider, to play in this game, but we want to provide very well crafted connectors to different data providers, so our agents can surface exactly the data they need, connecting with these providers. So I believe that bringing all this ecosystem together, again, on the overarching orchestration, would give really, the breadth to have all the building blocks required to build a large-scale deployments of agentic AI.
You said earlier you pivoted the entire company to agentic orchestration. Clearly you've done that. What's Wall Street's reaction to that? They must be asking you a lot of questions about your total available market, how big is that market? And I don't think I don't think anybody knows the answer other than it's huge. We're going from whatever, to adding $12 trillion to the economy and the GDP, and it's really hard to size. But can you give us a sense as to what your gut tells you about how big that market is?
I think there is no doubt that agentic market is huge. And I believe we have a right to win, to carve out, our portion of this agentic market. For me, my ambition is at least to build a business as big as RPA. We build in 5 years $1 billion business in RPA. I think we can build, in 5 years, a similar business in agentic. And our RPA business, scaled incredibly well. So I can remember our numbers. So we finished 2016 with 5 million in ARR. We finished 17, 45, 18, 170, 19, 360, and then 2025, almost 600. So you see the acceleration. I believe that we might see the same acceleration in the adoption of agentic AI.
Yeah, and you're well on your way to 2 billion in ARR. I agree, I think agentic is going to dwarf the size of the RPA market. I think prices are going to come down, the productivity boom, that's going to be, productivity with RPA was substantial, the ROI was off the charts. I think this is much, much bigger.
For
so
sure.
Any metric that you're personally checking to indicate to you about adoption and also this ROI?
Yeah, internally we are looking to a lot of metrics. number of agents creating, how many agents are run per day, per month, per users engagement. So we are looking to a lot. How the pipeline creation, number of agentic units that we are selling. So it's a wealth of KPIs that we look at.
Excellent.
Yeah, and you guys have given some guidance on your calls about that and what that uptake is, so we can track that on a regular basis. So, well, it's great to see you again. Thanks so much.
Likewise.
Daniel, thank you so much
It's always a great pleasure being with you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in to this interview with Daniel Dines, the CEO and founder of UiPath. Stay tuned for more of theCUBE's live coverage of UiPath Fusion. I'm Rebecca Knight for Vellante. You're watching theCUBE, the leader in enterprise tech news and analysis.